Hi, welcome to this basic tutorial on how to best set up your InDesign file for outputting for digital printing. So the first thing we're going to look at is bleed. So bleed is basically the area outside of the artboard that a printer needs to cut off in order to make an area go all the way to the edge. So from this example, we've got the blue background. So to create bleed, what we're going to do is we're going to drag the background out past the edge of the artboard into the bleed area. We recommend 3mm for flat items and 5mm for booklets. Now bleed also needs to be done for any images that stop at the edge as well. So what you need to do is create the art box a little bit bigger and then either move it or just make the image a little bit bigger so that it goes past the artboard and into the bleed area, which is needed for trimming. So once that's done, the next thing you need to check is the text safe area. So this is basically making sure that no crucial information is too close to the edge of the document. Otherwise it also is at risk of being trimmed too close to the text when it's cut, and also just doesn't look very good. So for instance, if this was all the way over here, that's not a text box, over here, then when it's trimmed it's going to be very close to the text and it's not going to look so good. Take that back. Okay, so once all that's done, you can basically export for print. Now the settings that we recommend is, for digital printing are, if you go to File, Export, and then you choose your location. Now you need to change the format to Adobe PDF Print, and then click Save. And then in the print dialog box, we recommend using PDFX4. And there's just a few settings that we recommend for the best quality results. So under General, we generally leave that as default. Under Compression, we suggest changing this to Do Not Downsample. And this is basically so that any high quality images you've got in there stay high quality. So downsampling generally takes it down to 300 dots per inch, which is fine for offset printing. But for digital printing, you can get much higher resolution. You can get up to 1200 dots per inch on most digital presses, and you can get up to 2400 on things like HP Indigos. So by setting these to do not downsample, it basically means that any high quality images and so forth that are higher than 300 dots per inch will stay at that resolution and will print much sharper. Now under marks and bleeds, the only one you actually need is crop marks. So you don't need bleed marks, registrations, anything like that. We'll add those ourselves later on. Everything else stays default. Now it's important down the bottom in the bleed and slug area, this is where you set your bleed to 5mm. Now the idea is to set all of it to 3 to 5mm so that it's an even amount all around. That way when we impose the card's centered on the page. If the bottom's bigger or one side is bigger, then it's not going to be centered when we come to impose it. And finally, in the output settings, we recommend using the Fogra 39. This basically just matches the settings we use on our press to get best results. Once you've got all those three done, then it's simply a case of pressing export to create a PDF. Okay, so your PDF's created, and as you can see, the area that we dragged into the bleed now goes past the crop lines where we will trim, and the crop lines are created, and there's a 5mm bleed all the way around, and it's nice and square and centered. And that's how you create a perfect PDF for digital printing.